So we have an interesting scenario, right? Let's go ahead and put the Packers in here right now. If the Steelers win this week, okay? Steelers win. This makes the Chiefs 14-2. If the Bills win this week, which I think they will, and then following that up, win the following week, if the Chiefs lose to the Broncos, they lose the number 1 seed in the first round bye. Here's the kicker, though. The Steelers and Ravens scenario, not looking good for us. So the Steelers, if they win this week, they're going to have to win against us to win the division. If they win this week, they're going to have to beat us to win the division. Reason why, let's say the Ravens win, right? Ravens win that game, and let's say the Ravens, we beat the Steelers, and the Ravens win. Ravens are division champions. So if the Steelers beat us, though, and they win out, Steelers division champions. So pretty much here's the rundown. You got 2. Steelers win out, they win the division. If the Steelers win, if the Ravens win out, Steelers still win the division. But if the Ravens win 1, Steelers win 1. Oh, sorry, if the Steelers and Ravens both go 1-1, Steelers still win the division. Obviously, if the Steelers go 1-1 and the Ravens go 2-0, they win the division. So at the end of the day, the Steelers, the only way that they lose this division here, so like for example, let's say hypothetically speaking, right? You can see if the Steelers lose 1 game, 2 games, Ravens win the division. Now, if the Ravens were to lose to the Texans, but beat the Texans but lose the Brownies, then they lose the division. All that matters really is this last week because of divisional record. That's what matters. The Ravens and Steelers played head-to-head. They tied. Not tied, but they won 1, lost 1. They, evened it out here. So because of that, the Steelers now, they're going to have to win against us. No matter what the scenario is, they're going to have to win against us if they beat the Chiefs. Now, if they lose to the Chiefs, that's where things get a little bit interesting. Obviously, that means the backups for the Chiefs will play Denver in the final week of the season, right? That's just kind of how that works. But if the Steelers lose and the Ravens win, the final game of the season, let's say the Browns win and the Steelers win, Steelers still have a chance to win the division. So obviously, again, because we're playing the Browns at the same time that our game is going. Well, sorry, we're playing the Steelers at the same time they're playing the Browns. This last game of the season is going to matter no matter what. Even if the Steelers lose, they're still going to go full cutthroat versus us. So no matter what, we're getting the best Steelers team possible in Week 18. Unless, I'll say this. Yeah, I was going to say, unless the Ravens lose this week to the Texans and they lost to the Browns. But again, the Browns game not going to happen while we're playing. So we're going to get the best Steelers team no matter what. Which sucks, but hey, listen, you got to beat your opponents. You don't get a freebie in the AFC North because, they have the backups in. So we're going to play the best Steelers team humanly possible, and we're going to have to come out here and play some great football. But again, for our scenario here, we do need to beat the Broncos, and we do need the Chiefs to beat the Broncos, and then we need the Colts to lose one of the 2 games, so against the Jags or the Giants, one of the 2. And then we also need the Dolphins to lose one of their 2 games, either against the Jets or the Dolphins can lose to the Brownies. I prefer the Brownies because I prefer not having to stress into Week 18 to see if we're in the playoffs. But I guess we'll kind of see how that works out. But again, if the Steelers win this week, reality-wise, the Steelers losing this week, does not benefit us in the slightest. Either way, we're playing the best Steelers squad. The only difference is the Chiefs will fight the final week of the season versus the Broncos if the Steelers win this week. So Steelers win, Chiefs are going to fight against the Broncos. That's just kind of how that works. But let's put in the rest of these games though anyway. So let's say the Bills win that game, Titans win, Commanders win, Eagles win, Patriots win, Saints, Vikings, Bucks, and let's say the Ravens win in the end here. So final game of the season, it's going to matter. We have to win to get in the playoffs. As long as the other scenarios happen, we are in, we are cruising, and we are 7th seed. And again, you know, we're going to play the Bills. Now, obviously, if the Broncos beat the Chiefs, then we're knocked out anyway. Doesn't matter. So the only two scenarios here are, and I had the Bills losing, but the only scenario where we don't play the Bills if we get in the playoffs is if the Bills lose to the Jets and they lose to the Patriots. And in that scenario, the Ravens would be our matchup. But that would have to be, again, the Bills lose out. The Bills have to lose to the Patriots again here, and then they have to lose to the Jets in order for us not to play them. So, in all intents and purposes here, we're going to be playing the Buffalo Bills if we get in the playoffs. Now, we obviously have a very good record versus the Buffalo Bills, especially in the playoffs. We are a very good team against them in the playoffs. We match up well against them, which is always fun, you know. And here's what I'm thinking, right? Hypothetically, the Texans beat the Steelers. The Chargers beat the Ravens. We beat the Bills, okay? No matter what, if our divisional round will be the Chiefs. It doesn't matter who wins or who loses, okay, in the playoffs. You play the best seed. The best seed plays the worst seed, right? So we would have to go from the Bills and then play the Chiefs in a divisional round. No championship round, it would be divisional. Which means we would have to go from the Bills to the Chiefs, and then championship, would be one of these four teams we would have to play if we got to the championship. Which, again, it'll say, hypothetically speaking, the Chargers and Texans won, right, beat their respective teams. Then we would play in the championship, again, the winner of the Chargers-Texans game. Which could, in all intents and purposes, be a very interesting walk to a Super Bowl. But if we're being honest, Ravens probably beat the Chargers. Steelers probably beat the Texans. Which would put it as we would play the Ravens or Steelers in the championship to go to the Super Bowl. Which is very tough. But, you know, you don't get a cakewalk in this league. Everyone fights tooth and nail for their whole entire season. And that's what we're going to do. Who dey, boys, who dey.